welcome back to the Body for Minds podcast. Today, I want to start with a confession. I have been a little inconsistent with my own practice lately. Life has been pretty busy, and if I'm completely honest, I did something I would never recommend to my clients. I knuckled through. I pushed past. Now, you might be wondering whether I should even be telling you this, and if it's unprofessional maybe. Personally, I don't think so, because firstly, I'm human. And as humans, we all sometimes return to old habits and patterns that we thought we had fully moved beyond. Secondly, I think it highlights something important as well. Body awareness and nervous system regulation are no quick fixes. They are practices that require some consistency, practices that require intention, and also practices that we sometimes drift away from when life gets busy. And thirdly, I want you to hear this. There is no shame in getting off track. Life happens to all of us. Routines change, seasons change, capacity changes. And the good news is that you can always return. You can always begin again. And sometimes going off track helps us remember the track we actually want to be on and why. I think one of the reasons people become frustrated with nervous system work and body awareness is because we often approach it with the expectations that eventually we should no longer need it. As if there should be a point where you've done enough body awareness and now you're simply body aware forever. Or you've regulated your nervous system once and now it stays regulated automatically. Wouldn't that be nice? Just flip a switch. No more stress, no more overwhelm, no more dysregulation. No need to practice anything. I completely understand the appeal, especially if you're an ambitious mother carrying a lot already. The idea of one more thing to maintain isn't exactly exciting. But that's not how our nervous system works. And actually, that's a very good thing. One of the biggest misconceptions about nervous system regulation is that people think the goal is to stay regulated all the time. But that's not it. The goal isn't permanent calm. The goal is flexibility. Because life requires activation. You want your nervous system to mobilize when another driver suddenly swerves into your lane. You want your system to wake up when the smoke detector goes off in the middle of the night. You probably even want a little nervous energy before an important presentation because it helps you stay alert and focused. A healthy nervous system isn't one that stays regulated all the time. A healthy nervous system is one that can move between states and return. It can activate when activation is needed, and it can settle again when the situation has passed. That ability to return is what we're really practicing. And it's also where body awareness becomes so important, because before you can return to regulation, you first have to notice where you are. Body awareness is simply the practice of paying attention to the signals of your body, noticing sensations, tension, noticing energy levels, as well as emotions as they show up in the body. And just as importantly, learning how to interpret what those signals might be telling you. The more often you practice this, the easier it becomes. Not because your body changes, but because your relationship with your body changes. You become more familiar with its language, so to speak. You start recognizing the signs that you're moving toward overwhelm. You begin noticing when you're pushing beyond your capacity. And you also become better at recognizing what helps you return. Over time, regulation becomes less about avoiding dysregulation and more about recovering from it. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is responsiveness. I actually think this is much better news than the promise of a quick fix, because quick fixes imply that something is wrong with you. That if you just find the right technique, the right strategy, or the right mindset shift, you'll finally stop struggling. And conversely, so long as you haven't found it, something is wrong with you, right? But that's not what being human looks like. Being human means moving through different states. It means feeling stress, feeling excitement, feeling grief, feeling joy, feeling uncertainty, feeling calm, to just name a few, and allowing all of those experiences to exist and sometimes even to coexist. The practice isn't about eliminating them. The practice is about staying in relationship with yourself as they happen. And that is a skill that deepens over a lifetime and that deepens your experience of life. There's another aspect of nervous system regulation that I think often gets overlooked, and that's the role of other people. Because when we talk about regulation, it can sometimes sound as though it's entirely our own responsibility, as though we should always be able to bring ourselves back into balance independently. But humans aren't designed that way. We know this intuitively when it comes to our children. When a child is overwhelmed, frightened, frustrated, or dysregulated, we don't expect them to simply calm themselves down through willpower. Well, okay, we used to, and sometimes maybe we still fall into that trap, but you know what I mean. We generally try to sit with them, or we hold them. We try to speak calmly. We help them borrow our regulation until they can find their footing again. And that's co-regulation. And somewhere along the way, many adults start believing they should no longer need it. That needing reassurance means weakness. That needing support means dependence. That needing connection means they aren't coping well enough. Or maybe even that it's being an adult to regulate yourself, just, being able to cope with life on your own. But adults do need co-regulation too. Not all the time, not for everything, but sometimes. Sometimes what helps us return to ourselves isn't another technique. It's a conversation. It's the feeling of being understood or a hug. It's someone helping us carry the weight for a moment and just being reminded that we're not alone in this. Because regulation isn't only an individual skill. It's also a relational skill. And I think that's something many ambitious mothers have forgotten, not because they don't know it, but because they're so used to being the one providing the support for everyone else. And perhaps there's another reason this can feel difficult. Many mothers have quietly absorbed the idea that they should be the regulated one, the calm one, the patient one, the emotionally available one, the one who keeps everything together when everyone else is struggling. And when that's the expectation, every moment of dysregulation can start to feel like a failure. Not just a difficult moment, a personal failure. A sign that you're not coping well enough, not patient enough, not doing enough. And I think this runs even deeper than we often realize, because as a society, we still tend to look at mothers when things go wrong, when a child struggles, when a teenager makes poor decisions, when a young adult isn't functioning in the way society expects. The question often isn't what happened, it's how did your mother raise you? That's an enormous burden to carry. And when you carry that burden long enough, it becomes very easy to believe that your own emotions need to be managed perfectly at all times. But that's not being human. And it's certainly not what nervous system regulation is asking of you. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is returning again and again with the same compassion that you would offer someone else. So today's episode is really another invitation. As so often, an invitation to notice where you are right now. To notice how your practice has been feeling lately. To notice whether body awareness and nervous system regulation have become another thing to perform, another thing to get right, another thing to succeed at, or whether they're serving as a way to reconnect with yourself. And if, like me, you've drifted away from your practice recently, Perhaps this is your reminder that nothing has gone wrong. You haven't failed. You don't need to start over. You simply need to return. Maybe not with a perfect routine, maybe not with a grand plan, but with one small moment of awareness. One breath, one pause, one check-in with yourself at a time. And before we finish today, I want to leave you with a question. When routines change over the summer, when work gets busy, when school holidays arrive, when life inevitably shifts again, what is the smallest version of your practice that you can realistically keep? Not the ideal version, not the version you wish you could do, the version that can come with you into real life. Because consistency isn't built through perfection. It's built through returning. And I really want to explore this idea of co-regulation a little further. So who knows? Maybe there'll be another episode on that topic in the future. Until next time, take good care of yourself and remember, you don't need a quick fix. You just need a way back to yourself. More you, less noise.